Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Amir bin Muhammad Jari, 2C4725. Today, I will teach about the key seats, family business governance, what's wrong, what's right, and what's next. Okay, firstly, we go to definition of SWOT analysis. We know SWOT analysis is a framework used to evaluate a company competitive position and to develop strategic planning based on assessment of internal and external factors which have potential to affect the organization. A SWOT analysis is designed to facilitate realistic, fact-based, data-driven look at the strengths and weakness of organization. Initiative or within its industry, the organization need to keep the analysis accurate by avoiding preconceived belief or gray areas and instead focusing on real-life context. For SWOT, what are divided into SWOTs. S stands for strengths, characteristic of the business or project that give it an advantage over others. For W stands for weakness, characteristic that place the business or project at the disadvantage relative to others. For O stands for opportunities, element in the environment that the business or project could exploit to its advantage. And the T is stands for threat, element in the environment that could cause trouble for the business or project. Identification of SWOT is important because they can inform later step in planning to achieve the objective. First, decision maker should consider whether the objective is attainable given the SWOT. If the objective is not attainable, they must select a different objective and repeat the process. SWOT analysis is instrumental in strategy formulation and selection. It is a strong tool, but it involves a great subjective element. It is best when used as a guide and not as a prescription. Successful business build on their strengths, correct their weakness, and protect against internal weakness and external threat. They also keep a watch on their overall business environment and recognize and exploit new opportunity faster than its competitors. SWOT analysis help in strategic planning in following advantage, which is source of information for strategic planning, build organization strengths, maximize its response to opportunities, identifying core competencies of firms. SWOT analysis may be easy compared to other types of strategic planning. It is not the time consuming. It is not dependent on aspect of location, but it also not perfect. In fact, it can easily lead you down the wrong path, which is lack of hierarchy leads to problems. Information overload affect the result. Too much structure leads to poor decision making and only one stage of business plan. This is SWOT analysis that has been used in Lee, Taj Mahal, at Russell, and Tolles in the case 6, which is they state the strengths of the project. Future project of option 1 is leader of the Pakistani food market al-Badat, strong based as a family business, 2 decades of the French food market experience, a strong network al-Badat, a strong database system to meet supply and demand of Asian food, a strong Muslim and French customer database for Badat's city. For weakness, they identify no experience with French food, no idea about the French Arabic Muslims food market at Marshall and Tolles, no existing network to take administrative and financial control on the restaurant, need bank financial guarantees and registration of a new company with local ministry. For opportunity, the board identified to introduce Pakistani food at a new French market, including Malaysia and dollars, to diversify restaurant food range with Arabic halal food stuff, to take the share of the halal food market in France, to introduce the same food stuff for new Muslim market. For three, strong financial base needed to acquire land at a new marketplace. The risk of failure against established halal Turkish and Moroccan restaurant at Marseille and Toulouse. Lack of human resource to take care of additional market, 1,000 miles away from borders, higher restaurant land acquisition costs, need Pakistani Indian food expert in the area of Marseille and Toulouse. So we go to the corporate governance. Corporate governance is the system of rules, practice and process by which a firm is direct and controlled. Corporate governance essentially involves balancing the interests of a company, many stakeholders such as shareholders, senior management executive, customers, suppliers, financiers, the government, and the community. Since the corporate governance also provides the framework for attaining a company's objective, it encompasses practically every space of management, from action plans and internal control to performance measurement and corporate disclosure. Governance refers specifically to the set of rule, control, policy, and resolution put in the place to dictate corporate behavior. Proxy, advisor, and shareholder are important stakeholders who indirectly affect governance, but these are not examples of governance itself. The board of directors is pivotal in governance, and it can have major ramifications for equity valuation. A company corporate governance is important to investors, since it shows a company direction and business integrity. Good corporate governance help company build trust with investors and the community. As a result, corporate governance helps promote financial viability by creating a long-term investment opportunity for market participants. For principle of corporate governance, we have 4, which is all shareholders will receive equal and fair treatment. It involves ensuring that shareholders are conscious of their rights and how they should exercise them. It is necessary to uphold legal, contractual, and social obligations to non-shareholders and stakeholders. It also involves the exchange of relevant information to staff, customers, and group suppliers. For the board of directors must maintain our commitment to ensure corporate governance accountability, fairness, and transparency of diversity. The members of the board will also have the requisite expertise to review management activity. Organization should identify board members and executive code of conduct that appoint new people only if they comply with the norm. All policy and procedure for corporate governance should be transparent. Okay, next. We know the principle of corporate governance to be the good corporate governance. So how we to identify the good corporate governance? Okay. Firstly, to be good corporate governance is legislating and issuing regulation that are fair and suitable to employees and society. Next, legally authorizing the power, improving the process of drafting, issuing, and implementing the law with the consideration on quality, fairness, and quickness. Embracing the morality and cultural values, encourage the employee to conduct their duties and be role model for society. That's for how we can identify the good corporate governance in the company. Next, we go to advantage of corporate governance. Firstly, is encouraging positive behavior. Monocular legal state having clearly delineated policy and process, and a board of director and executive manager who maintain the compliance culture directly support improved result. Okay, next is reducing the cost of capital. The implementation of good governance practice can lead to a reduction in the company cost of capital, and an organization that is seen to be stable, reliable, and able to mitigate potential risk will be able to borrow funds at a lower rate than those with weak corporate governance. Next is improving top-level decision making. There is a strong and demonstrable link between an organization governance and rapid decision making associated with improved performance. Explain the corporate governance institute in a recent report. And next, assuring internal control. By implementing corporate governance correctly across the organization, the board may be certain that an adequate and effective control environment is in effect with the level of assurance associated with each important component of governance. Next, lastly, is enabling better strategic planning. With more rapid access to information and good communication with management board, and formulate more successful strategies. This includes more efficient allocation of resource and capital. The strong governance framework will further assist the board in some of the following ways: understanding the regulatory environment governing the business, leveraging technology from a production, distribution, and communication point of view, and identifying and managing the reasonable interests of all stakeholders in the business. The advantage of the corporate governance is separation of ownership and management. The official and executive who oversee a company internal affair and make the bulk of its policy are not necessarily shareholder. For can publicly trade a corporation, this may become a problem. In the absence of controlling shareholder and the majority of shareholder vote by a proxy, the company assets shall be managed by the board of directors and the official. The ownership management distinction will lead to a conflict of interest between management's obligation to maximize shareholder value and increase its revenue. Next is illegal insider trading. The word corporate insider applies to corporate executive managers and employees, as they may have access to sensitive non-public information about the company that could impact their share values. For misleading report, there are many ways of presenting factually accurate financial statement in a way that mislead investor. For regulation costs, the issue of corporate governance has led to the adoption of a broader range of federal and state laws to discourage such abuse from repeating. Compliance with this legislation can be burdensome and costly for company. Case issue that relate to the corporate governance is conflict of interest in corporate governance. In the case, election of the new CEO, Moben Khan, was nominated alongside Stephen Boras with the same vote. At the time, Imran Chandri used veto power to side with Boras and become Boras as the new CEO. After the incident, Moben was not certified and had sent a resignation letter to persuade Imran has offered Moben Khan as a board members. Thank you for watching. I hope this lesson can give you knowledge about the case, and I hope you can answer the question in the Padlet. Thank you.